Welcome everybody to the Skull Hunter Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Anchor, all one platform that you need to start your podcast. If you're ever curious and ever wanted to, download Anchor. Go to anchor.fm or download the Anchor app. Thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring this podcast. We got boys here. We got Joseph. We got Charles, everybody. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing today?
Not too bad. How are you doing, brother?
Doing good. You know, it's nice. We have a little, no one else can see it but me at the moment, but we have this nice like border set up, no editing needed. It's great. It's gonna look so much better. We're slowly upping our performance, so bear with us. Season 3 will be amazing, but doing good, doing really good. How about you, Charles? You looking mighty fine.
I'm doing alright. Can't believe how much one of my YouTube shorts I uploaded the other night blew the fuck up.
Yeah, it did. Woo, 1,000 views. Let's go. I'm clapping
Nice.
in the air. Woo! Disco rave.
I was making a clapping noise with my mouth, but the threshold on this microphone has always been a little difficult to understand, so I hope it came through.
I don't think that's blowing up is anybody's the chances of actually enjoying this Halo show after 2 episodes.
Yikes. Well, before we get into the Halo nonsense, we always want to hear about Joseph's little journey before we go knocking off the Halo and, you know, talking some smack. Joseph, I would love to hear how is the journey going from our last podcast.
Cool. So I'll start with the good news. Good news is 2 of the potential clients that I had spoken to both want to work with me. However, the caveat is in both cases, they can't quite bring me on board yet. So in both cases, it would be like a 2-month wait, 2 to 3 month wait. So, but still them wanting me on board is the most important takeaway. So that's good. I spoke to another potential client yesterday about helping him do a podcast. It would be like 3 hours worth of work a week, but I'm starting to see how things are shaping up, and I'm starting to get this feeling of like gonna be working with multiple people throughout the week. You know, one day of the week is gonna be this guy, then the next day these people, then the next day these people. So if that's how things are going, I'm gonna be pretty happy about that because I would enjoy how each day is gonna take on its own identity. Like, hey, Monday I'm doing this, this, and this. Tuesday I ain't doing anything even remotely resembling a Monday.
Fair.
I went downtown today to go pick up a thermal bag because unfortunately in the month of April is I got them bills I gotta pay, and I still have money, but you know, like you have like your FU money, you have your I'm fucked money, and then you have and then you have your like the deep reserves for like when you're like really fucked. Well, I don't want to pull out that money, so it's like principally I'm out of time. I gotta work. So
Then you get $100 hidden somewhere for the strip club.
Whoa. He got a girlfriend.
yeah, I should have a conversation with her about it first.
have that sit down conversation. Yeah. Listen, I got $100.
So yeah, I picked up one of those thermal bags. Gonna give Uber deliveries a try. We'll see how it goes. What I mentioned to Jordan before we were recording is like the downside to doing stuff like that. You know, it's not a work that advances my career in any meaningful way, because it's one thing to make the same amount of money while editing a podcast, improving my craft, at least that way. So it's too bad because it could be really good. But also I noticed that like there are certain days where if I'm on my right leg, it'll start to hurt like hell after like an hour's worth of walking. So I don't know. I might run into actually a pretty serious roadblock with it. But you know, we live in a time now where if people want to earn some revenue, there's like 101 things they can do. There's a whole bunch of apps I downloaded, like a survey app, one where you take photos of your receipt, and you can then earn a little bit of credit for uploading that image. Have the data, big companies, just take all the data. So
they're
it's
going
giving
to take it anyways.
It's given me an opportunity to really think about like how everything that we can do can be monetized in interesting ways. So I did have a pretty bad episode like on Thursday. I was really starting to lose my temper just because of how competitive the marketplace is. I know I'm good at what I do, but there's a lot of other people who are also good at what they do, and we're all fighting for less work than there is of opportunity, and that can be really frustrating, especially when it's tax season and the Fed has to take their unfair share. Lord knows I'm never going to feel bad about write-offs again after this year. I tell you what. So, at this point in this week, I'm actually kind of busy, between looking for stuff, locking in the relationships that I do have, the commitments that I do have, and trying to do at least 1 or 2 days of this week with the Uber delivery. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, I'm glad to be in this place just because it's really given me a chance to experience what this kind of situation is like and what do I learn from it.
That's definitely cool because I look at it like from an outsider situation, being like you're kind of going through like a mini like Ryan Trahan situation. He's a kid on YouTube. You got to see like him dump out of school at like 18 and at 20,000 subscribers, and he was just going, I guess we'll just see what happens. And it's kind of that little bit of situation where it's like I'm watching like how you're dealing with it, and I'm looking at all the other people that did it for a different reason, but they still did it. Like they dropped out, they didn't have a backup, they had what they had, and now they're trying to get with it. And for me, it's just really fascinating to hear about it, and I hope it is for you, the audience. We greatly appreciate you guys continuing to watch the show and listening to the story times, to the actual topics and stuff. So it's really cool. But yeah, that's definitely fascinating. So while you brought up like the car, like the Ubering stuff, it made me think about what I had to do this weekend. So I had to replace my antifreeze tank because it busted. It somehow, in a BMW, the antifreeze tank busted. Replaced it, cut my hand open, smashed my thumb, but only one of those things happened working on the car. And it's not even a... So here's the thing.
That fight I got into the neighbor where we traded haymakers, that's where most of it came from.
We're fighting over which one's better, controller or mouse and keyboard. We're having the 5th grader fight. So there was a fly in my house. This should have been in my house. It should have been in my house. So, I had to show it's who's boss. Came in to clap that fly. I came in, clapped like the Avatar doing his fucking air bending, and I smacked my finger on the counter. Dove it right into it, black and blue under my nail. Dude, the next day of editing was the worst thing ever. Like clicking my finger and it moved my thumb like, like splicing a video was the worst feeling ever. I'm like, okay, well, I'm really gonna have to splice this. But
you ever want to have this might have actually made it worse for you, but have you ever wanted one of those monitors that are touch screen, like the Microsoft Surface Pro?
Yes.
Where you're just like, I would love to minority report my way through my daily tasks.
Dude, there's such a huge part of me that wants like a touchscreen monitor, especially like when you're working on designing stuff, because you get to draw pad and stuff like that. That makes sense. But then there's other times where I'm just like, I got a stand-up desk. Imagine how cool it would be, and me just going touching the screen. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I would break it. I would hate it because then I would constantly be trying to clean it. I would be just, my phone is always clean. At the end of the day, I always wipe it down because I don't like a dirty phone. So I wipe it down at the end of every day. And I guarantee if I show it now, it's going to be thummy. Yeah, there's a little thummy on there.
Can't be helped.
But what's going to happen? Yeah, all of our phones are thummy right now. So, dude, you got the Logitech up there. Logitech camera. Oof,
is this like 4K? I feel like I should be in 4K, but I feel like I'm at just 1080p.
You're at 1080, dude. 100%.
This is 1080. Yeah.
100%. You're at 1080. I don't know what you have to go through to change that. It might just be your computer not letting it go to 4K, but you're definitely at 1080.
Okay.
But
yeah. No. Sorry.
this is also
I misspoke. That wasn't the part that I was doubting. I was just like, but do I have the 4K option? I don't know. We'll figure that out after.
30 FPS.
Yeah. So one thing I want to say also about like touchscreen monitors, the thing that worries me the most about it is, an uneven distribution of pressure, where like the middle of it is where I'm constantly interacting with, and then the sides don't get as much. That's the problem that I have with my graphics tablet, because I use a pen and tablet for audio editing, and some of it is scratched up, some of it is pristine, and that irritates me.
No, I get that. I get that. I'm kind of the same way. I used to have a tablet, but that broke for many reasons. But it's broke now. It wore out at the middle. So there was this game you could get on there that you just had to keep hitting the button to get further in the game. When you get frustrated, you don't realize how much pressure you're putting down until the screen starts changing colors. You start doing like da, 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 and you're like, "Huh, my Flappy Bird is turning green. What's up with this?"
Well, is that the cookie one?
No.
No. Well, yeah, okay. This is one where you click and you create a cookie, and then it starts automating itself.
Dude, I saw this creator
thing about capitalism. It's always about that. And like if you play anything where you like earn resources, it's actually like an anti-capitalism thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're really not wrong. But so the change topics. Charles, you wanted to discuss the Halo episode 2, what all happened without giving too many spoilers, and this is a spoiler alert, but without giving too many spoilers, your opinions on the episode, what happened in it, and why do you think this might be the worst decision the Halo series has made so far?
With the Halo soundtrack and the background a cappella.
Shut your mouth.
But, mostly thinking a good chunk of this episode was with Chief and the girl Quan traveled to a place called the Rebel. It's a place that was mentioned in one of the books where the worst of the worst go to hide out, and the people who just trying to live their lives without worry about people coming after them. And Chief meets a character that named Soren, who's another Spartan that escaped from UNSC and is now the leader of all the people on the Rebel and has a wife and kid. And he still has part of his Spartan armor for some weird reason. But he also has a bit badly injured hand too. And the two of them are like really close, even after the shit that because Soren is pissed off at Chief, only giving him 5 minutes to get away from the UNSC before Chief told everybody about it. Copyrighted!
I just figured while you were explaining Halo, just have the Halo theme going in the background. Continue.
I want to get this thing copyrighted.
Fuck.
But anyways, these two of them
got a cappella.
The two of them got reacquainted, and they're still friends all these years later. And Chief showed Soren the artifact from the first episode, and after a while, Soren brought Chief to this insane lunatic who apparently had been captured by the Covenant at one point, and that's what made him crazy. And because Soren figured that the crazy dude would know what the thing was that Chief had, and the crazy dude ends up shoving this thing in the Chief's hands, and his memories again, also sets off everyone else in the this prison area because there was a bunch of loonies in the place and everything. And Chief also leaves Quan with Soren to keep her safe because UNSC and this dude that the UNSC that's an insurrectionist leader, but he's one that's made a deal with the UNSC to work with them and for them and everything. Once Quan dead, so Chief goes back to the UNSC and is more than willing to face the consequences for what he did and there's also some UNSC political bullshit going on. About Cortana, his eyes open at the end of the episode. Spoiler! By the way. Mostly that Halsey was finally able to get it approved where she could actually, be able to work on her Cortana program without any bullshit. And, there was the scene where they were on high charity, where the elite that saw Chief first activate the relic in the prior episode was showing them, and this girl Covenant had rescued, who works for the Covenant and everything, and predicts where these relics are and everything. Literally made drew a circle in the air with his finger of the Halo ring, and now this girl trying to get the prophets to let her go after it, because she tells them she could easily get it on their warriors and everything. And it's in the weirdest fucking scene I've ever seen in a TV show, and I've seen Game of Thrones. There's a weird ass shit in that show, and I have seen some shit, but this is the most awkward thing I've ever seen. Then you have this scene where this girl slowly is stripping her shit off, and she's literally shown naked from the back. and kind of the front too. And she's like looking at herself like, what the holy crap, this is freaking what I look like. And it's like, lady, you are a freaking human, and you know this. Yeah, you're looking at yourself like, what the fuck?
So there was titties.
Not really. They didn't show anything. At least they might have, but I might have showed a little bit. But I freaking wasn't paying really attention. I was just freaking cringing watching this this girl slowly freaking strip her shit off, and it's like, this is not fucking Halo.
I'm gonna need you to do a special request. I need you to do a special request. Go back, and we'll rewatch it. And if there's titties, let me know.
Resources are scarce. We're dying out here.
Free porn's not a thing anymore.
This was freaking the worst episode yet, and it's like, this is like, what is this show freaking for? Who is this show for? When I think of Halo, I think of all the years I've spent shooting and punching aliens in the face with a shotgun. And fighting zombies, I figured it could shoot me, but freaking you get the idea.
Okay, so then what I'm understanding. So then what I'm getting the understanding is, so with the episode 2 of the Halo series, or Halo TV show, whatever it's called, it's not great, and that it seems like they really stepped back from the fighting and they focused more on their corrupted storyline. Is that right?
Focus more on freaking dialogue and freaking exposition that wasn't all that great, and freaking weird ass shit that is, I guess, is supposed to go in later in whatever happens in the next episode this Thursday, but I don't know. I freaking just hope that freaking they freaking start having more freaking of the shit that people actually want to see when they think of Halo, and that's freaking Chief, Marines, Covenant, guns, explosions, freaking people get teabagged. You get the idea.
Whoa! Does Master Chief actually teabag somebody?
No.
Not canonically, but
he's thinking about it. He's like, well, to hop up and down. Okay, so then if you had to rate this episode individually, if you had to rate it from 1 out of 10, what would you give it?
That's the mightiest deja vu.
That's
only because I know there's probably some people who are like probably got their rocks off seeing the freaking view of the freaking girl's ass.
Okay, but what would you rate it?
4.
A 4! Oh my god!
Out of 10.
Still,
okay.
A 4.
Well, okay, no, I mean the 4 is a failure.
Well,
And that's
Charles,
being generous because I still fucking want to see what the fuck's gonna happen with this show.
If it's college scaling, it's an exceptional failure.
if it's fucking golf, it's a extreme failure as well. But if well, the reason why that's a big deal is last week you voted. We asked you the exact same question, and you voted it. What was it? An 8?
6.
No, you didn't vote it a 6. You voted it higher. It's either 8 or 7. You voted it last week. So you voted the first episode at an 8 or a 7. This time you voted it at a 4 to a 3 because you said it would be less, but you're trying to get something. So that's a huge number change. Like you expected it to be at like a 5 or a 6 at least if it was a downgrade for you, but that's insane. So what do you think that they did to the episode that they should have done better? Like if you had to go in the studios right now and tell them what they should have changed, not add in, but what they should have changed about the episode, what would be a quick, like, something you could tell them?
Show me more of the shit I expect from the fucking games!
So more action, more things that relate back to the actual Halo games. Like, you want more action, you want more of the storyline that at least can relate with the games. Maybe put in actual, like, some Easter eggs and stuff like that of the game, so it kind of helps tie you back into it. Even though it's not canon, but it still, like, helps you guide back into the games.
I want to see more of the freaking shit that's supposed to be going on because they keep mentioning there's a fucking war going on with the Covenant. We've only had one fucking episode, it's like a couple of scenes with freaking that actually had the Covenant involved, besides the freaking scene on High Charity I was talking to the Prophets and the One Elite.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out, they showed Mercy and the girl talked to Mercy. I just want to figure which one of the other two is regret and truth.
Dude, you said show mercy, and I was thinking, like, I'm not going to kill you. Show mercy.
I'm talking about the Prophet.
Yeah,
You're going to them asking to show mercy. Just give her the freaking guns. That's what I came here to. That's what I'm
that's
imagining.
what I wanted. Give the girl a gun.
If I ever saw the fucking Prophet, I'm putting a bullet in their ass.
Airsoft.
Beat me to it this time.
Yeah, I was
You
actually
were wrong, but it's not even getting it right. It's just the answer is where all the credit goes.
You have to be the first. Have to be the first. You have to be the best.
I should have known he was coming back with the as soon as he from now on, as soon as he leaves frame, airsoft.
Just hurry up and jump to it.
So I want to invoke a veering off privileges on this because it's got me thinking about something.
Yeah.
I think this is a lot about marketing, and it's a lot about managing expectations. Because it's called Halo, Charles has every right to expect it to be like Halo.
100%.
To have the Halo DNA and to have the same fun watching that people would have fun playing it. Now, if it took place in the Halo universe, but it was called like The Pillars, and it was based off the ships and how the ships go around the galaxy and help people with their problems. If it was called the Spartans, it was some variation of something within the Halo world, but it wasn't called Halo. I think that would go a long way because that would people's expectations would be much more managed. It would pre-conclude what it's going to be about. So if you call it Halo, you're expecting and there's a game I played lately that I like a lot, and it's called Don't Starve. I've talked to you guys about it a couple of times. It's not Orwellian. It's Lovecraftian because there's a lot of like eldritch horrors in it. And by the name of the title suggests that it's a survival game. So as soon as you enter the world, which they call the Constant, it's a race against your own stomach. So you got to find food, you got to be able to cook it, chop down trees. Basically, if you've played any survival game, even Minecraft to a certain degree, even by Minecraft, it's a lot of those same beats. Now, the problem though is one of our friends he gave up on the game because we survived. And the next part of the gameplay wasn't appealing to him. It didn't occur to him that once you get out of survival, that's when the game really takes off, and you start going on adventures and seeing the rest of the world. So I think part of the problem, again, was because it was called Don't Starve. His expectations were led to believe a certain something in specific, when in actuality, the game is much more expansive. So, like, if it was called The Constant, then people get the idea that, this is a persistent world. Yeah, it's brutal, and I'm going to die of hunger if I'm not careful. But by calling it that, players might get the idea that it's more of like a lived experience. It's more of a social thing. It's something that you interact with maybe on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis. And it's persistent, which it is, because the game doesn't end until the players figure out how to end it. Same with Minecraft. It would be like if Minecraft was called Survive the Night. Or if No Man's Sky was called Crash Landing, or if Ark was called Dinosaurs. You have to manage people's expectations, and a lot of that is actually just in the title alone. So Charles, my question to you now is, if it was based off Halo, but it wasn't called Halo, it's against the law. They can't call it Halo. What could they call it? So at least you have a clear idea of what it's actually going to be about. You can answer this one too, Jordan. I would call it the Spartans.
Honestly, that's what I was gonna end up doing. Is like then have like Master Chief appear from maybe time to time. They really want to market off that, and that would help trailers and stuff like that. And they could go off with the storyline a little bit, and not be like, but canon. Like they could have more freedom to do that.
Yep. Yeah, naming is everything. That's why, to me, the Resident Evil series will always be Biohazard, because Resident Evil makes sense for the first game, and then it quickly drops off all the way through until you get to Resident Evil 7, which incidentally is one that's subtitled Biohazard, which is extra funny. But like statistically, very few of the Resident Evil games actually take place in a place of residence. It's a police station, laboratories. Okay, well, castle.
Everyone
but I mean,
is
come on, throw me a bone here.
laboratory, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much everyone in the yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Everyone when it has a laboratory. So imagine if it was called Biohazard, and then the subtitle was like Resident Evil. Then part 2, Biohazard, City of Evil.
That's
Biohazard
what
3
they
would
actually
be
tried to
Nemesis.
do.
That one's fine.
Yeah, that's what they was trying to do with it, but they're kind of wrap it
They
back into for Charles's thing with the name. Charles? What would you name the Halo series?
Sorry, but I just want to see teach it tiny quick because it's a quick factoid. The reason why they couldn't call it Biohazard was because a rock band was also called Biohazard, and they had a litigious issue with it. Yeah, look it up. See, I had to make that point. That was important.
No,
Okay, done.
Bet. Okay.
I would have just called that UNSC a Halo story. Well, at least then it would have made more sense.
Yeah, that right there. Yeah,
That's really good.
that would have done it.
Yeah, I fall off a little bit with like a Halo story because I know there's like Rogue One, a Star Wars story, but to me, Rogue One is just called Rogue One. Like I don't say a Star Wars story in conversation, but for marketing purposes, it's still the best choice they can make. Yeah, UNSC, a Halo story, perfect.
Because then they would see that this, guys, then people would get it. Oh, so this show is going to have a lot of the crap that goes on involving the shit, political crap that goes behind the scenes with the UNSC and Oni and shit. And occasionally, we'll see Figure Master Chief doing what he does best with his fire team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
yeah, your name's better than ours, by the way. Like straight up. That's
that
a
one
really good
actually.
title
Well,
for it.
we also just like kind of
We haven't watched it, so there's
we haven't watched it. We're literally kind of like learning this from Charles a little bit, so we're just kind of taking a little bit of knowledge we know about it and trying to just throw something on the wall and see if it sticks. But that's a really good name. So before we move on to a final subject, or before we move on to our next topic with this, I want to see, like, because this is all based around Paramount Plus, whatever. I heard it both ways. Whatever it's called, Paramount Plus. This is what it's all revolving around. Is it worth it to get a Paramount Plus subscription just to watch the Halo series?
I mean, if you're willing to go through what a lot of other people do with some of these shows and these streaming services or whatever, to go through like a bunch of episodes of shit that make you question why is this called this, just to get that one fucking episode that actually shows the shit you want to see. So far, that's been the first episode, kind of. Then freaking, if you're like me and you're freaking have freaking hopes that this shit will actually be what you were expecting it to be, freaking when you're waiting for it all this time, then yes, if you have money to blow.
And you have money to blow.
That's the biggest question everyone has, is if you have the money
pass.
to blow. So, without obviously knowing, I can't say too much about it, but so what Charles is saying is he would recommend it if you have the money, if you have the time, and you afford.
Yeah, and if you're a Halo fan and you just if you haven't seen it yet.
That's like the exact same recommendation people are making for the Star Wars Galactic Cruise. Hey, you've got the money, you got the time, and you're into it.
And you've watched the previous series before that, and then the canon knockoff over here, and you played the Lego games. Have you played the Lego games? Yeah, okay, then you could do that.
Let's keep your expectations low.
I think that's good. I think that's pretty good for like anything coming out in this year, is to keep your expectations low. So that was great. So taking a little breather off that for a minute. So we have the Halo series have been doing pretty, is there any other shows out there that you guys been like actually watching, being like, yeah, this is a nice little sit down stuff besides the Halo? Is there a show out there that you guys been watching that you would actually recommend just in normal conversation?
Well, I mean, in normal conversation, because sorry.
You're good.
In normal conversation, I still follow The Walking Dead. I was into the series when it first came out on TV, and it's a show that got me into watching like hour-long dramas. I still like it. I've made peace with its limitations. I've always disliked the writing of the show. I always felt like if you read the comic books, characters are much more thoughtful with what they say. But when you watch the TV show, they act like the comic book characters. Like, I'm gonna go get some milk. Oh, where are you gonna get the milk from? Wherever it takes. A lot of people, they fell off the show at certain points, and for a lot of people, they don't actually get what the show is about, because they think it's just like a survival thing. When it's about, it's like a metaphor for the evolution of man. how like those first days of surviving zombies is just like our chaos era where we're like cavemen and we're just slaves to the elements, and then over time we start creating little cultures, get into the feudal age, and then builds up to like civilization again towards the latter end of the series. So there was a lot of depth and a lot of like morality and a lot of interesting themes explored in The Walking Dead. But again, it comes back to what we've just been saying about titles. When people hear The Walking Dead, they associate it with the kind of show that they got from the first and second season, whereas very much like they're on the runs. They're on the run. They don't have the runs, even though that would be realistic.
They're shooting themselves running from zombies. Yeah. They're like, ah!
A comedy zombie show where like everything is game. People get colds, or people get, like they get the runs, all of that stuff. So people they watched the first season and they thought that's what they were going to expect, and the show didn't really manage those expectations. If at some point when the show became a little bit more routine, where they weren't changing locations so often, and now it's more like they have their home and they're really just trying to hold it off from ever increasing threats. If they changed it to The Living Dead, which maybe they couldn't do for legal purposes, but that would have been actually a little bit more in line with how the show goes from that point. So, hey, if you end up liking it, you got like 11 seasons worth of content.
Yep.
I would space it out, because the more you watch it in blocks, the less the frights work. And you still get some basic catharsis out of it. Every episode, you get to see a few zombies get brained. So, you get a little bit of that, like that release of just watching something get like clocked in the head. A little too much stabbing, not enough blunt force. I like seeing baseball bats. Well, one character has a baseball bat, so he covers the bases. Ha, pardon the pun. I like to see more mallets. I'd like to see more planks. But a lot of the characters are always just like knifing people, and I'm like, that's not satisfying enough.
Is that they're pointing ammo for the guns out their ass?
Huh? Well,
they get to the point where they can make ammo, but it's always touch and go with guns in that show.
Yeah, because they're always trying to sit there and be like, don't use guns, you can melee them. Okay, grab a bat. No, we're going to somehow put a dagger in a zombie's skull and not worried about them fighting back, being like, we got this. I was like, okay, no, the machete thing made sense. You just go up and bam, try to hit. Like, I don't know. I feel like you, there was too much stabbing, especially in like the head. Too much stabbing going on.
Well,
there.
I mean, the head, it's rules of the zombies, right? Well, you got to stab them in the head.
Yeah, but I get it, but there was just too much. It was too much of like the littlest of things being like, let's just stab him in the head. Like, I love when that one girl came in where she started just taking off the jaw of the zombie and then being like, yeah. I loved when she came in because they were like, just like, cool, let's use the zombies what they're good for. As pack meals.
Yeah.
It's like, carry my
There's one
shit.
character way down the line who has like a pair of I don't want to like mini axes. They have a little bit more curvature to them, almost like mini scythes, and he's like whirling death. He's like a dervish. He's fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
So if they had worked on more fighting styles, I think that would have helped the show out a lot too. Yep. Other than that, that's really the only show that I'm like actively like engaged and watching on a week-to-week basis. I can't think of anything else, honestly. I consume so much YouTube stuff these days.
Fair. Charles?
I don't really watch anything outside of wrestling and NASCAR at times. Besides in the Halo series when I'm able to. I almost didn't even get a chance to watch the episode. I didn't get to watch till like last night, for crying out loud.
Yikes. Like, what do they come out, like Wednesday?
Thursday. They come out every Thursday.
Damn. By the way, this podcast is out every Monday. So when you're listening to this podcast, whenever, it is out every Monday and recorded the following Monday. So if something seems like, why aren't we talking about it? We record it the previous Monday and it's released on the following Monday. So that's when our
we'll
podcast
work on that
is
though.
out.
Yeah, the notification for last.
Yeah, we can work on that.
I seen the notification for last week's, and I freaking just want to. I have to watch that just so I can hear my rant about freaking first episode again.
What was the thumbnail of it? Wasn't it like a half-naked girl on the front?
Another?
I think so. I think I used her like 2 times on the thumbnail, but we get clicks, so I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing that you wouldn't see just going on Twitch for 5 seconds. Like are gonna see.
Oh
Which,
no, it's Tiny Tina's Wonderland and
no,
Master Chief.
that was today's. That was today's,
Yeah,
not last
and then the one
week's.
before that is Amaranth, which is totally
Yeah.
fair because it's
She was
Yeah.
she was a moment of our podcast. But for yours truly,
Like a Photoshop picture of me slapping Paramount.
no, I'm not gonna do that. I will not do that. That's you're asking me to do too much work. I'm not a working man.
Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, and freaking just put my
transition.
face
There it is.
from my YouTube channel
That wasn't
and
the
put
transition I wanted.
freaking Paramount logo and Chris Rock, and just have it look like I'm slapping Paramount.
This is what I want you to do. I will do it if you make the thumbnail.
I don't know how to make thumbnails. That's your business.
And then you know what? I'm retiring, motherfucker. But no, we might. I don't want to overuse the meme. Like this is something I learned. This is something I learned throughout my time on YouTube. Don't put memes in your videos. This is why. You put a meme in your video, now you're putting that video to a date and time. So don't use memes in your videos. Don't use memes as your thumbnails. Don't use memes as like the premise of the video, because if someone comes back and watches it, even if it's benching on their TV, if the whole premise of why they clicked it is because of a meme, your thumbnail is going to die out through click-throughs within a day or two. That's why I won't do it. 100%. That's why I won't. But if I would have thought about it, might have at least did it for like an Instagram post. You know, it's just something.
I love that every freaking YouTuber is bigger than freaking even your channel, Jordan. Freaking that uses memes like crazy in their videos.
you get certain permissions when you get to certain points.
Yeah, when you get to a certain point, you have that following that will just watch you no matter what, or you're just gonna end up. People are gonna know your content, be like, we don't care what. We just want to watch you. And
Yeah,
so,
or if your kind of content is the kind of content that like is expected to be viewed on the same day that it's released because it's so timely. And then by the time people are gonna watch the video, they've put out another 3, like either that week or even that day, depending on your on your creator of choice.
I know it's freaking people like some of the people I watch put like videos like almost every freaking day, every week.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you? I know this is another veer off, but did I ever tell you guys about like what's always kind of like grinding my gears about YouTube's video hosting? I'll try to be brief about it because I know we want to get to one chunkier subject, but because there's so much content that's transient, which is a smart way of saying it's not going to be relevant forever, and its relevancy diminishes pretty quickly. I always thought it would make more sense for the overall health of the website that those videos would actually just be deleted after a certain point. Keeps server hosting down, and people have an understanding that I'm creating content that is not going to last. So maybe the algorithm will be a little bit more generous to it. And if people want content that's more long form, that's meant to just stay and be evergreen, that can come at a cost. Not a substantial cost, like 10 cents a year. Just, it'll add up when you have like 100 of these videos, but some way to communicate very clearly to the system that the evergreens should have their own competition. And then I don't know what word to call it, because I don't like calling it burner content. To me, that's not good enough. Doesn't sound like it really respects the work that goes into it. But whatever word we're going to replace burner with at some point should have its own competition. The fact that evergreens and burners are in that same competition, to me, has always been like a weakness of any video platform, not just YouTube, but YouTube certainly the most prevalent in the space.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I think one of the big things that shows that example is like TikTok. And the reason I say that shows the example is a video won't go re-viral. There's such
won't
thing.
Won't go re-viral. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And so if you make a video that hits 1 million views in 4 days, in a month from now, it's not gonna get it. It's not gonna get that views. Even if you repost like another version of it, it will not get that video to re-get views.
Yeah.
It
a little bit of that depends
burner.
on the video. Like if we're talking about titties, then a person will always go onto a TikTok page and scroll through.
Oh yeah, and that's when, but that would never be picked up by an algorithm though. It would never be like someone goes on there going, well, this popped up on my For You page 4 years later. It's like, they're not going to be slapping some 4-year-old titties. I'm going to rework. Okay, we're going to hold up. We're 4 years in time. titties on the
The best
screen.
part was the slapping too. There had to be an action involved.
Edit that out and post.
We're just gonna cut the no. I don't care. But leave the mistakes in because it shows your personality. But when it's all said and done, though, I definitely feel where you're coming from. There should be something on there that kind of awards you from putting that viral content out that was good then, and having it on a back burner. Like there should be some sort of reward for it instead of just. Hopefully you make it. Hopefully it doesn't just die out. But you also look at things like the Renegade. Would you watch a bunch of Renegade videos right now?
I still don't know what that is.
But
I don't know that creator. So, but what kind of content creator is Renegade?
I remember a wrestler that passed away years ago from suicide that used to wrestle for WCW.
I don't think that's it.
No, the Renegade's a dance move. But people doing the Renegade.
Oh,
Those videos would not be relevant right now. Okay, the Harlem Shake.
Okay.
Let's go Harlem Shake. Everyone knows what that is, okay?
Yeah.
A video like that would not get views right now. But there should be something that rewards you in a sense of like, you made it. You did good then.
Well, this is why I love plugging Emperor Lemon, because as a content creator, he's so insightful. And when his videos come out, I watch it. But his work is historical in nature, so there's always a reason to go back to it.
Okay. Yeah, and that's great. Now, to kind of wrap a little bit back into the movie side, honestly, if I have to give any recommendations for movies or shows, recently on my spare time, I've been watching two things. I finished one, but Is It Cake? It should have been made whenever the whole like Is It Cake was happening, but it's a nice cooking show that has nothing to do with like actual who's the best cook. It's just a comedic cooking show, and I absolutely love it. And then there's another one called Good Girl on Netflix, or Good Girls, and no titties. I want to say that now. It doesn't have any titties in it, but there's some fucking. But it
sounds like a porn fit title.
It's actually it does sound like one. That may be why I watched it, but I started watching it because like drug lords and things like that, and I'm like, that always fascinated me how people get away with like the drug stuff. So I was like, I want to learn. I want to learn for no reason specifically. I just
basically if Far Cry and Battlefield Hardline had a TV show.
Yeah, it's like I'm afraid to jaywalk, but some people can like live a life where hundreds of people die each day because of their actions indirectly. Yeah. Life is
Final destination.
weird.
Hey, that's something. But while we're talking about things that happen in movies and we're talking about our shows, let's talk about the Oscars.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the Oscars. So, as of the date that we recorded last week's podcast, the Oscars just happened, and we know that Will Smith has slapped Chris Rock across the mouth with the quote, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth," end quote. So we know that happened. We were all speculating, was it fake? Was it real? And there's a ton of these videos up on YouTube. You can have your own opinions on it. If you have an opinion, let us know in the comments if it was real or fake. We're going to kind of re-dive into that because our opinions might have changed. But these are the reasons why the opinions are going to change a little. So Will Smith made an announcement and Chris Rock has made an announcement. Now, Chris Rock has made the announcement that he will not sue. He didn't apologize for the joke. That I will state this, he shouldn't have to. It's a joke.
I agree.
But he didn't apologize for the joke, but he did announce that he is not going to sue. And Will Smith apologized for what he did at the Oscars. Didn't apologize directly, as we know, just a public apology. He didn't apologize directly to Chris Rock for the exact reason on why he did it. He just said that he apologized for the actions he did and that it was not acceptable for what he ended up doing, and that he does not want people to respond that way. I'm not reading this fully off the quotes, because I want this truly to be authentic of how we feel about the situation. I want to know how we will respond to it. So the thing is, we have Chris Rock saying he's not going to sue. Kind of strange, but okay. And then we have Will Smith making an apology with no one pushing his hand. What are the opinions on this? Because whenever this first happened, everyone was saying how real this is. But if it was so real, why wouldn't certain actions have happened? So, Joseph, how do you feel about the situation? Do you still think it's real, or is your opinion swayed now?
I'm still in the real camp, but I did see an image that has started to move the dial, which is somebody analyzed like the body language of the exact second before the attack lands, and you can see Chris, his eyes are shut, he's leaning into it, he's gritting his teeth, almost like he knows it's happening, almost like he sees it coming. Now you could say, well, Will Smith is walking up to him, he's about to get in his personal space, you know, that might be enough time for him to I think he's gonna hit me.
Like, but you wouldn't expect that from Will Smith.
You might have also expected that it was going to be like a jokey hit where he's like, okay, let me have it. And then Will Smith just like pop, you know, nothing actually hard, just like,
It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the piece of information that moved the dial, but I still think it's real. Now, as for my other opinions on this, you know, throughout the week, like, I'm dealing with other shit, but it's hard to avoid the story. It just comes up. And part of me started to develop sympathy for Chris Rock because you know, he's doing very well. He's like I said, he is of legendary status.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but when I was a kid, you know, in the day, like maybe 12, 13, somewhere around there, I had one of Chris Rock's specials on our computer back when like every we didn't have very many downloads, but every download was an achievement. So I would listen to Chris Rock's comedy special several times over while I was playing RuneScape, just to date myself there. And I forgot that I had that like connection to him, and that, you know, one of his albums was something that I listened to multiple times, and probably some of my comedy development came from that. So I just felt like the embarrassment and I'm trying to choose the best word that I can here, but the feeling of emasculation when you're struck by another man, you know, I guess a woman too, but that part's not the important part. It's being struck in front of everybody, and it has to feel emasculating to have to endure that. So that's where my sympathy for Chris Rock is. You know, last week I said that I was on Will Smith's side. I don't necessarily think there are sides per se at this point. It's not like I stopped being sympathetic for Will Smith, but I gained sympathy for Chris Rock that I didn't have last week. So that's it. And then as far as Will Smith goes, so I have a rule, and I've had this rule since I got into content creation 10 years ago, which is it's more for like our people who are like our colleagues, like back when I was doing a comedy podcast. So if you're a comedian in the room, you're fair game for like, you know, joking and taking shots at each other, pot shots, not physical shots, but just, you know, for the fun of it. If the comedian was out of the room, you're not fair game. Because I didn't want to create an environment where people were being spoken of in a way where they can't defend themselves. And that did not resonate with the rest of society. You know, there's a couple of comedians who a few years later did that to me and slandered me pretty hard and did what I would consider character assassination and defamation. And it's been quite a few years, but it still stings. So I think one of the things that's unhealthy about society is that a person gets to a certain caliber and are touchable. Anybody can make fun of Will Smith because he's Will Smith, but he's still a human being, and he's still vulnerable, and I'm very concerned actually about what might happen with all of the other things that he's gone through building up to this point. and seeing like everybody make fun of him. At the Grammys, they were doing Will Smith jokes nonstop. One of the presenters comes up on stage wearing a helmet. LeVar Burton, of all, like, known for his portrayal of LeVar Burton in NBC's Community, took shots at the most like wholesome guy, makes a joke about him. And admittedly, I laughed pretty hard at the Ocarina of Time image where Will Smith is Link and he's slapping the lightning bolt back at Ganondorf. Zelda fans will get that one. But they've all seen it, so they all know which one I'm talking about.
Okay.
So, all right, that was pretty goddamn funny. But I think there are some main things that really hold back society in a broad perspective, and one of them is this culture of bullying and attacking one another and taking and wearing away at each other for our own temporary gain. I'm very concerned that what could happen next can be pretty grim, pretty bad. So if anybody like myself wants to express support for Will Smith, I recommend you do.
Yeah.
Whether you're reaching out to him directly or his agent, say, you know, I know you've been through a lot and I know that you're sorry, but here's why you've mattered to me. You know, I watched that TV show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, every day after school for years. So Will Smith has Chris Rock, he's got some time logged. Will Smith has definitely got a lot of time logged as well. And it's really important for people to show their support, because if all he's getting is the negativity, I think things can get pretty bad. There's nothing. There's no human being on the planet that's immune from wanting to do something drastic. And the last thing I want to say is, once a person apologizes, forgiveness is something that people should show, and maybe that should be the time to like step away from attacking him through mockery and humor. You know, it didn't bother me all that much when people would make fun of Trump, because he's Trump. Like, he doesn't apologize. He's apologized for one thing, and we don't know what that was. And I remember there was a joke where the guys were like, so Trump is what happens when a person is like voting for him is like being on a ledge and threatening to commit suicide. And then Hillary Clinton is them sending in your least favorite teacher from school to try to talk you out of it. That's a really, really funny joke.
Yeah.
And you know, if a Trump joke is funny, I'll laugh. If it's not funny, then I will not laugh. I will.
There's also a time
do
and place.
Other things. Yeah, and there's a time and place. But he's a caricature. He's protected by his own persona. So people aren't even attacking him; they're attacking that visage that he hides behind.
Yeah.
But even if they were going directly for the same guy that's at the dinner table with his family, you know, it's just his persona. He doesn't apologize. He's an antagonist. He expects it, and he actually converts it into something useful for him. That's how he's able to save so much money and media coverage, because all he has to do is turn on the heat, and then everybody goes after him. I don't feel bad when people make fun of him. He wants it. But when somebody has apologized, and even if it's like, you know, it's a PR apology, we don't even know if he wrote the damn thing, but you know what? An apology is an apology. And it takes a lot of bravery to apologize, and it takes even more bravery to forgive and move forward. So
yeah,
I was just like, it was really hearing about the way he was treated at the Grammys. He wasn't there, but just all of the people using him as a butt of their joke, shame on them. I never really wanted to be a part of that industry, and I want to be a part of it even less as the days pass.
Yeah, that's a well way to put it. Charles, your opinion on the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation?
Personally, I get what Will Smith did. He was defending his wife, even if they do have the whole open relationship thing going on and everything. But I still wouldn't let freaking anybody say shit like that, whether they mean it as a joke or not. But I freaking girlfriend, I think freaking somebody says something like that, thinking I'm not only just freaking slapping him in the face, I'm freaking beating the shit out of him, even if it's on live television.
I'm trying not to make a joke from it, just because of the whole like Chris Rock situation. But yeah, no, I get that. Like, you're still gonna want to protect somebody, but if you were
Also,
in,
apparently, from what I
Yeah,
heard
go
about,
ahead.
from what I heard about what happened, Will Smith left the academy or whatever.
He did.
yeah, he ended up leaving, but so the issue, not even the issue, the thing I have is everyone's kind of attacking Will Smith. People are saying all this stuff about Chris Rock. When it's all said and done, there's no sides to pick. Both fucked up, but one fucked up worse than the other. They're both legends. I mean, they started in filmmaking in a time where we couldn't even accept a different skin color. And they were grinding and showing that they can do it. So, I mean, all in all, they are legends in our film world, in our history, and everything else. Like, they've done so much for charities and everything else. Like, you literally name it. What?
When Will Smith got into doing movies, he was still, I think, doing music because he was
Yeah.
a musician at one point. He
Yeah,
was like
he
a
was.
rapper.
Well, that's where the Fresh Prince comes from. That was his music moniker.
Yep.
That's why the sitcom opened up with a rap, because he's a music artist, and so it transitioned into the sitcom by having him, be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
And he did songs for Men in Black.
Yep.
First two.
Well, because he was still in the rap area. But, yeah, it's like, you look at them and they're both, like, big people. Like, you can't have, like, well, he was in the right. Chris Rock made a joke. He was making jokes for everyone. Like, he was targeting multiple people. So it wasn't even like he was directing, like, he knew this would piss him off. So Chris Rock made a joke. If it wasn't fake, keyword wasn't staged, wasn't fake, wasn't any of that. Chris Rock made a joke, maybe too far, but should have just laughed it off, went behind stage. Will Smith should have said, yo, that wasn't cool. That was too far, dude.
Yeah,
and
I'm just picturing like how I would do
so
it.
Easy.
I would just, you never know until you're tested, right? But I just pictured myself being like, and not like in a threatening way, just like, no, cut, man. She ain't liking, man. She ain't liking it.
You look over to be like,
Yeah. That's it. That's better.
Like,
yeah, like the wrist twist. Like, hey, she ain't going for it, man. She ain't going for it.
Just stop, please. So, yeah, no, definitely get that. And then on the Will Smith side, I understand, like, it was such a big situation. That was on trending for like 3 days on YouTube. It has over 80 million views on it, and so many more from people reposting different clips of it. It has over 100 million views. I understand, like, use it. It gets clicks. It gets everything. But now the apologies are said and the actions are done. It's like, now as supporters of Chris Rock and Will Smith, and remind you, they're probably still good friends. Like, if it was staged and you have all this hate still going around, that's gonna affect it even worse, because now they did it to help the Grammys get fucking views for once, and now it's like, oh cool, now everyone's hating on Will Smith, using him as the world's biggest meme and everything else.
Like, if it's revealed that it's fake through like any kind of like official confirmation, that's a lot of goodwill lost by the audience.
A ton.
Yeah.
And
a part of me would like to see the Oscars turn into a farce, though, where like it's just a total shit show next time. Like, I anticipate the ratings will be pretty good next year.
No matter what, I think it's gonna be great because they always step up. Like, the one time there was on an award show at the CMA, someone was like, they're telling me to go off stage, but I'm not gonna do it. Everyone's like, yeah. And then like every year past that, now it's like they're telling me I'm running out of time, but I gotta say this. I'm like, God, dude, that already happened. That happened already. Just fucking let it go. And everyone starts cheering, being like, yeah, waste time. Don't let Carrie Underwood have her moment. Woo! And I'm like, what the fuck? But it is what it is. But
Next year, I just expect someone to walk up on stage with a freaking airsoft pistol.
Airsoft.
Clip that. Let's get in slow mo. We need to make sure that we have a who said it first moment. I think I said it first.
No,
I said it first. I said freaking. I said
You're the meme. You're the Will Smith. You're the Will Smith in this situation. Where's the Chris Rock? We're trying to figure this out. But he shot himself. Airsoft. I think like you said, Joseph, if you are a supporter of Will Smith, or you feel like you should back him, like, even if you post an old photo of Will Smith or something like that, tag him in a post, let him know, Like, remember, even if you're not the biggest Will Smith fan, but you're like, he might have been in the right or he was in the wrong, at least let him know, like, hey, dude, like, yeah, it sucked. Sorry for what happened there. Hopefully everything comes back. You know, just keep your head up, dude. Like, no matter how big you are, you always need to hear that. Everyone needs to hear that. Keep positivity in your life. Everyone needs to hear it. But that's kind of the situation with Chris Rock. Any final opinions on the Will Smith Chris Rock slam-a-gamma?
Actually, if anybody tries anything with Chris Rock again, he should just have figured a Fortnite gun with him.
Airsoft. Damn it! You got it first.
You're not. You're just deliberately going for the wrong ones.
I thought what would be funnier. That's where my comedic mind went.
Clear.
I got a whole box of these freaking toy guns not far from here.
Max out your credit cards because we need to get like a ton of airsoft and a ton of Nerf guns. Get them painted so we really have to play that game going.
Get a paintball gun in there. Mix things up.
Charles just ends up pulling out a real Glock and being like, "You're all wrong." I'm like, "You can't show it."
I mean, I have a pawn shop right down the street from my house that sells guns.
Let's not play that game. Let's not play that game.
Oh, pawn shop. Okay, I'm sorry.
What were you?
I think
Daddy?
he thought I think he thought I said porn.
Oh. Do you have a
I
pawn
didn't
shop?
actually think that. I just thought it was a funny.
Yeah,
They exist.
It was funny.
They do exist.
They actually do.
You're not gonna believe me, but I've never been in one.
Neither have I. That's why I'm just surprised they exist.
Yeah.
I know they have shops that
Adult
sell
video
shit.
stores. Yeah, they're around.
What?
I know there's stores that sell shit like freaking dildos and other shit and freaking
Where?
weird shit for people.
Well, I'm in
BDSM.
I'm in Toronto, so there's neighborhoods dedicated to it.
Freaking BDSM neighborhoods.
Shut.
Who knows? It's Canada. They all
it
just
is
say
an
sorry and walk
ironic
away.
name for a street, by the way. Torontonians, they know what I'm talking about.
I just love the
I know there's
idea.
freaking neighborhoods people are freaking straight up fully naked. That's a thing.
There's a day for that.
Of course there is.
Once a year.
Once
Yeah,
a year, people just walk around butt ass naked.
Yeah, like it's called the Pride Parade. They just straight up like it's, an LGBTQ plus parade, and people will just come out and just pull out their dicks, muck around, and show the dicks all day. And
Dicks and tits,
there's,
okay.
And there's kids there, and yeah, it's great. Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I was gonna make a deal about that, but I just when it's all said and done, it's like cool. You have your own. You're gonna see them in the future. As long as they're not touching you with them, it's fine.
Yeah, you're not gonna like see it in a context where you understand it without first seeing it in a context where you won't understand it, and that is part of growth.
Yeah. And when it's all said and done, like I sit there and see it as, no one's telling you to keep your shirt on. No one's telling you to keep your pants on. It's just, when it's all said and done, it's like, it's just public decency. That's what it is. It's public decency. You want to look better in public. You don't want people to be disgusted. I'm not even going to say. Real. It's a real Halo gun from the, I almost said Porn Plus, Paramount Plus, from the TV show Halo. And put it in your mouth.
Infinite Nerf gun.
I mean, one day. But to kind of just bring everything back into a solid little circle. Is there, last question for the podcast before we go wrapping ourselves up? Is there a game coming out in 2022, not currently out, but coming out in the year 2022 that you are looking forward to getting? Pokemon? Joseph?
Well, unfortunately for me, the sequel to Breath of the Wild has been delayed to spring 2023. And that's pretty much like the only game I really had on my radar. So, yeah. But something, I'm good. Like I got games. I got games. I'm not hurting for stuff to come out.
Yeah,
I guess I wouldn't. Sorry, Charles, but I wouldn't mind giving the Sonic Breath of the Wild a shot. I do like Sonic gameplay, and Sonic the Hedgehog was actually the first like game I ever played, like first video game I ever played on Sega Genesis. So I'm always gonna like at least keep my ears out on Sonic. So if that game comes around and the stars align and I can afford it, then you know what, I would try the demo first. I'm like, you gotta sell me on the gameplay loop here, otherwise I don't know about this one. So I'll say that.
Okay.
I don't even know if that one's a 2022, but that's all I got.
I mean, that's fair. Charles, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, we didn't talk about how that E3 was canceled this year.
Was?
Nobody's doing like any freaking like thing that's like E3.
You know what? I'm actually excited about that. And I bet you the reason they're canceling E3 is because of the fact games keep getting delayed. I bet you that is probably the reason why. Because when E3 happens, you get a set date and you're supposed to release it because you're building hype for those games. And I think that's a solid reason why they're probably not doing it. Find out on next week's episode of Silver Podcast. Actually, that would be great to actually hold that until next week so we get more information on it and we can all dive into a little kind of like a little campfire moment, sit down. We can actually all talk about our true opinions on it. If that is something you guys are interested in, make sure you subscribe to our Skull Hunter podcast wherever you can find it.
Somebody better bring some marshmallows and some graham crackers.
I will bring marshmallows because I'm a fat. I actually own graham crackers. Don't use them, but I own them. They're like 3 years old, dude. I can't wait. I either when I hit 100 followers on Twitch or when I sit there and like hit another milestone, I'm gonna buy a box of Pokemon cards. I got a pack of Pokemon Oreos, and I got a box of Pokemon collector stuff. I want to just have a Pokemon stream. I play some Pokemon on the Nintendo. I sit there, open Pokemon stuff on stream. I just want a day where I just open Pokemon stuff, and also my Oreos are about to expire, so I want to make sure I can, use them before they hit the boat. But the game, to wrap everything back up into the game of the year that I can't wait for is Son of the Forest.
Okay.
It is based off the original series of Forest. For those of you who don't know, maybe you're like, Forest, what is that? It's a survival horror game that is based around a plane crash that happened, and you get put on this island forest area with mutated creatures like zombies, the best thing to say with them. And you go through this massive adventure looking for your child. You have to get armor. You have to survive off eating people's legs to going hunting. And it's actually really fun to learn. Whenever the game is getting close to coming out, we will try to stream it as best as possible. But that is a game I'm super excited for because that's been a game that kept getting teased, being like, we're going to do it. But they have not released a release date because they wanted to make sure the game was better than the first and held up to people's expectations. So I'm super excited knowing that it is coming out this year. And for a smaller horror game coming out, we have Evil Dead is releasing their game in May. I'm super excited about that. Evil Dead is releasing their version of the game in May. I'm excited to see what it's going to be, more than like wanting to really get through the play style of it. Like, I don't know if it's going to be more of like a walkthrough game to a survival game to what. And I've been trying not to look too much into it until the release date so I can truly have a blind response to it. But yeah, those are like two games that are coming out right now that I'm super excited for. But the one I'm really, though, is Son of the Forest. That is one I'm like super excited for.
This one sounds like Fallout 3.
Definitely not. Not even close. It is literally you go out in plane crashes, you're in a forest. The first one is you're looking for your son because your son crashed, but your son's alive. You're trying to hunt him down to find his body. You find out he's alive. An evil fucking messed up girl possessed him, then turns into a creature. You kill it, and then you have like 3 different endings you can get. And this is what everyone's excited about. You don't know what ending it's going to play off of. They have not released that at all. So your best bet is to play it all over again and get your endings. But you have to, and this is another reason I love the Forest, you have to actually play from the beginning to end to get your different endings. They do not let you just go, oh, it's your last save point, go ahead and load it back in and then just do with this little part. No. You pretty much have to play it from the beginning to end to get your right storyline that you want to get. So I'm super excited to see how they're going to implement that into the next game. Like I said, I'm thrilled about it. 100% thrilled about it. But to go ahead and wrap up our podcast, Charles, where can people find you? Hopefully you wrote a little script for yourself.
I like watching me listening to me rant about how freaking stuff has to do with video games or wrestling or anything like that. If you like watching my video game related videos, whatever. And hopefully at some point I'll be able to get a video of freaking my brother raging at freaking like Call of Duty or something again, because I know people like watching those and I haven't recorded one of them forever. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, CJ the Lone Wolf, which is I'll be at 140 subscribers by the time this freaking thing is uploaded.
Yeah, awesome.
Joseph,
where can people find you?
GiantEnemyCompany.com. Head on over there, and you will see me at my... How about you, Jordan?
Okay, well, you can go ahead and find me at Skull Hunter Games. Let me read the script. Find me at Skull Hunter Games. That is on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. All same name, because I lack creativity. Except we have another YouTube channel. It's called Not Skull Hunter Games. It's where I can actually post just small, quick video clips of what happens on stream to another platform that's not as crazy Mr. Beast style edit as my bigger channel. So that is what that is for. But where you can find this podcast, though, if you go to anywhere you can listen to your podcast or watch your podcast, it is Skull Hunter Podcast. Anywhere you find it in audio land, iTunes, Spotify, it doesn't matter. You can find it there. And you can leave likes, you can leave comments anywhere else. Just like Anchor, who sponsored this podcast. Anchor is an all-in-one platform that you use to start your podcast from beginning to your end, to distribution, to writing your descriptions out. It makes it so easy for you, and it gives you step-by-step when you log in to create your account the whole way to the end. They help you out. They've been a big sponsor to us. They've been one of our original sponsors, so we greatly appreciate them. And guys, that is the Skull Hunter Podcast. We did it! Woo! Episode 18! Woo! We did it! Charles!
18?
So, I think so. Season 2, episode 18? I think so. I'm not...
Oh, like if the season 2 starts with 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I'll probably have to go back and check on that. But, without further ado, Charles, sell us out. Goodbye, everybody! Woo!
The camera keeps fucking up, freaking they're gonna be freaking regretting it.
Charles, keep going. No, you're supposed to keep doing the melody. We have to get copyrighted.